With the eye reverse they're going to say anything if they want to be like, let's make it look
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for joining us for yet another candidate forum. My name is Tiffany Perkins. I'm the founder of Clarksville. We're using a different system with some more lines. If we need to go house mic, we can definitely go get that as well. I am going to be your timekeeper today for our candidates that are going to be doing the forum. Each candidate is going to get 2 minutes to introduce themselves. We suggest your introduction includes your background, why you're running, your priorities. And then each candidate will be asked 2 general questions, 5 questions specific to their office, and then you'll receive another 2 minutes for closing statements. I'll be up in the front. I'll give a 30-second warning and a 1-minute warning. And our moderator today is Ms. Rachel Cisco. She is a fantastic member of this community. Really happy to have her joining us. And we are going to start out with our county commission candidates. I do want to make sure that I add all candidates were invited. All candidates were invited. All candidates were invited. We invite them multiple different ways. We try to get in touch with them and ask them to come today. This is a nonpartisan candidate forum, so this is really just about the information. We do provide candidates with the questions beforehand. This is not about gotcha or making a moment. We want them to come and bring their best selves so that our community can get the best information. We are streaming live in our Black Clarksville Facebook group. This will then go onto our YouTube page. It'll then go on our YouTube page. And then that will be live for the general public tomorrow. I like now, so. But, okay. And I'll pass it over to Rachel. This isn't about me. This is about y'all getting information from the candidates and everybody who is here today.
Okay. You county candidates can come on up. County commissioner. We have Ms. Jensen. Hutchinson and Mr. Shipley. start with your introductions. So you can go ahead and do an introduction, and you will have 2 minutes. You can start with Mr. Hutchinson.
So, my name is Luca Hutchinson. I'm running for District 11 County Commissioner. My priorities, I'm a child welfare professional, and I've been active in the community, but when I started engaging the local leadership, I just wanted to see a little bit more, especially pertaining to our youth. So I decided that I need to see at the table to be able to make sure that the services, development, and all things, well-being, safety, all those things that I know our youth need, that we have some experts, some professionals at the table, be able to bring that expertise and leadership to that.
I'm David Shively, running for county number 11. I'm running on more transparency for the government. More government. At times, there's a lot of things that people don't do anybody. A lot of us are here to change that, and everybody in the state will agree with that. Okay.
You want us to put your mics closer to your mouth?
I have a construction background for 20 years, engineer in wastewater, so that's one of my biggest things. I have 3 children. One of them goes to Northwest High School. I've been married for 16 years, and I'm a big part of my community.
Hello, everyone's really quick. Hi, my name is Rebecca Johnson. I'm running for County Commission District 7, which is in the western part of the county. It includes part of Clarksville and Dodsonville, Woodlawn, and Indian Mound. So it's pretty somewhat city and somewhat rural, which makes it different from a lot of the other districts. I'm running because I've lived in Woodlawn 10 years, and in that time there has not been a lot of choices on the ballot. Basically only one party and no choices. So I believe that people in elected positions should not go unopposed. So I'm running. It's not something that I ever thought I would do. I'm definitely a more behind the scenes person. I am a tax pro, I am a social media manager, and I'm also the communications chair for the Montgomery County Democratic Party. So I'm usually not on the camera, I'm usually behind the camera. So this is a very different experience for me. My key points that I'm running on are improving our schools, including I also have children that go or that will go to Northwest High School and New Providence Middle School, and I believe that there are some upgrades that are needed to those schools. I also think that we need some changes in our infrastructure and how we're deciding what projects get approved. And also I believe that we need more programs for youth in our community. So that's it. Johnson from Roco 7, that's me.
So,
It does. You have to put it up to your mouth and speak into the mic.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Is that really, y'all can really hear that? Okay. Feels like it's low. Okay, these are going to be general questions that applies to all of you. We can start with, let's do Rebecca, switch it up. What do you believe is the biggest challenge currently facing Montgomery County, and what specific steps would you take in this role to address it?
Okay, so if you'd asked me this question 2 weeks ago, I would have said infrastructure. It's always been infrastructure. But taking into account things that have happened recently in our community, I think actually the most important thing right now is lack of trust in leadership. I think there's been some events that have happened that have not been dealt with in a timely manner, and people are waiting for information from leadership that's not coming, and it's causing a lot of confusion and heartache, and people are getting really upset and angry about it. And if the issues had been dealt with earlier on, or at least communication had been had earlier on, I think that could have prevented what's happened, which is it's a lack of trust, and it's multiple agencies. It's the school board, it's the county commission, it's the city council. It's not just, and also the county police potentially too. So I think it's a lack of trust in leadership right now.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to say? I was supposed to say what what I'm doing to address it. I'm sorry. So I think really the key to addressing that is communication. It's early communication, even if there's no information to be given. There needs to be specifically communication between the leadership and the people to say, at this time we don't have any information, we hear you, we feel you, we are understanding, and we will keep you updated. And I don't know that that's been happening, so that's what I would do.
Mr. Shipley, same question to you. What do you believe is the biggest challenge currently facing Montgomery County, and what specific steps would you take in this role to address it?
Montgomery County is growing fast, and that's a great thing, but growth without planning is just a future problem. Schools are packed, services are stretched. As your commissioner, no new development gets approved without infrastructure attached to it. Impact fees, timeline, requirements, coordination with schools and emergency services before the first house is built. That's one of the bigger things that we have. As your commissioner, I'm ready to make that happen.
Mr. Hutchinson, the same question. What do you believe is the biggest challenge currently facing Montgomery County, and what specific steps would you take in this role to address it?
Just like my compadre over here, if you asked me about a month ago, I probably would talk about it from a youth standpoint. But as I started looking into this job, and when I decided to run, I wanted to be prepared for the job. So when I decided to run in November is when I started doing the job. As far as looking at what's going on, what's happening with our government. The biggest problem that our government has right now, I believe, is the budget. All of the programs, all of the projects and things that we would like to do, we got to have dollars to do it. And what's going on with our budget right now is concerning. We have debt over $500 million. We're scheduled to pay $175 million in debt interest alone on these general obligation bonds. So the biggest problem we have with the budget is, one, we got enough revenues to be able to balance the budget. And even in the proposed budget, I saw that we're at $58 billion deficit. So we got to get this budget down first and foremost. Second thing we have to do is we got to get away from these general obligation bonds. This is when we borrow money to be able to do some of these more capital projects. But when we borrow this money, we're not paying it back when we have it. Again, I mentioned we have $600 million in revenue. We pay it back in incremental payments over a 20-year period, and even at up to 5% interest. When that balance sits on the books for 20 years, we end up paying, and it's over the amount. I give you one example before I run out of time. The one that matured in 2026 and 2006 was a $40 million bond, general obligation bond. We're going to pay back $63 million. So even though it's listed at 5%, we're going to end up paying 57% in interest because it's set on the books for 20 years. So we got to do this budget right.
Thank you. The next question, we're going to start with you, Mr. Shipley. How will you ensure transparency, accountability, and meaningful communication with the people of Montgomery County if elected?
Well, too many officials show up at election time and disappear after that ends. As your commissioner, town halls in the district, budget breakdowns, anyone can read in direct line to me personally. So everybody can have my cell phone, email, everybody already has that, I hope it's on a thing that's on. I can give it to anybody that needs it. Every vote I cast will be public and explainable. Because the moment you can't explain your decisions to the people you serve, you have stopped working for them. And that's where I stand with that.
Rebecca?
The same question.
Okay,
How
same
will
question.
you ensure transparency, accountability, and meaningful communication with the people of Montgomery County if elected?
Okay, so first of all, I think that there needs to be a method for allowing questions from the public in our meetings. Right now, if you have a question, basically the only way to get an answer is to go through your county commissioner. You're not allowed to ask questions in these public meetings. So is it really public? People make a statement and then whoever's in the meeting tends to ignore what was just said and go on with whatever was on the agenda. So I would allow questions. I also would like to propose that public meetings are easier to understand. I've been going to county commission meetings for quite a while now, and if you don't look up information in at least 3 places, you don't know what's going on. They're talking about CZ 2006 number 1. What is that? Who knows? It's some plot of land somewhere. Who owns it? We don't know, unless you dig into the background. So I think that needs to be more evident, what's going on there. And I think that I also would hold regular town halls in my district. I would send newsletters, because I'm good at that, I'm a communications person. Rachel knows. I would be accessible on social media. I'm very good at that also. And I would publish information on the planning proposals and the meetings that are happening. Currently the meetings for planning proposals are 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, which is not really accessible for everyone. So I think that information needs to be brought to the public in a way that is accessible for everyone through probably social media where people are at.
Candidates, just a reminder, if you could please talk directly into the mic so everyone can hear you inside and online. No. Okay, now these questions are going to be specific to the county commission position. Luther, we'll start with you. What Montgomery County, growing rapidly, how will you ensure infrastructure like roads, schools, fire services, and sewers are planned and built alongside new development rather than after problems arise?
Well, that is one of the things that I think our government does a really good job at. I've listened to our regional planning commission put together the packets and explain them in these meetings. The only thing that I would like to add to that is how soon, how early would you get those packets and that information? And I know that the agenda that and I remember Ms. Gansey mentioned it, what the public see on the agenda doesn't look anything like what the commission see. So as a commissioner, I would like to get that information early enough to be able to review it, and make sure that things are good. But again, our regional planning commission does a really good job of laying that out. And when new developments happen, there are requirements and things that you have to follow. So it's not going to get approved at all unless you follow certain guidelines. And so I'm not concerned with the new developments. I'm concerned about what our city and what our county is doing about revitalizing those other developments like New Providence, Madison Street, certain areas. I definitely would like to see our city allocate some dollars for revitalization rather than these new projects that again they have to balance out certain guidelines anyway.
Mr. Shibley, same question. With Montgomery County growing rapidly, how will you ensure infrastructure like roads, schools, fire services, and sewers are planned and built alongside new development rather than after problems arise?
What we need to do is make sure we start getting more road growth. We need to start building roads wider, getting more lanes. We need to speak with our schools. A lot of, like the school at Liberty is 105% capacitated, and we're talking about building a house over there in your neck of the woods over there. That's not going to cut it. The rebuttal on that was, well, that's in 5 years down the road. So those families are going to be moved out, and there's going to be more opening in that school. There's not many schools around there to put those kids at. So that's one of the biggest things is we have to start. We have to start it happening right now with developers. Families move in, then we scramble. That's backwards. We need to start that up front. So that's part of my plan is to get with the schools and see how we can, where the growth is before we start approving these houses getting built.
Thank you. Rebecca, same question. With Montgomery County growing rapidly, how will you ensure infrastructure like roads, schools, fire services, and sewers, are planned and built alongside new development rather than after problems arise?
Okay, so first of all, I think that we need to start increasing the density of our housing instead of sprawling out. So where I live in Woodlawn, it's beautiful, it's rural, but development is coming, and the people who live there don't want it. So I think that we need to, I think it's called in-building, where we use the land that we have that's already got the infrastructure so that we don't have to build new infrastructure. I also think Mr. Luther did explain that the Planning Commission does have a procedure for making sure that the new plans adhere to the development plan, but I've noticed that in some cases they kind of gloss over that, and it's very quickly it's very quickly decided, oh yes, it agrees with the development plan, therefore we should approve it. And I'm not sure that in all cases it does, or sometimes if it really does, then I think we need to look at the plan. I believe that we need to add a step in the Planning Commission to ensure that infrastructure is in place, and like I said, currently it seems to be glossed over, so we need to really hone in on the fact that is this property in line with what we need as a community? Is there sufficient roads, fire networks, schools, because specifically, like David said, where we live, 2 elementary schools, both with road capacity, and there's no plans to build as far as I'm aware. So yeah, that increased density and add a step in the Planning Commission process.
Thank you. The next question, we'll start with you. We're gonna switch
Come on.
What specific actions would you take to address affordability, affordable housing, and the rising cost of living for working families in Montgomery County?
Okay, so I think there are several approaches that we can take. Like I said in the last question, I think we need to improve the density of our housing and approve density of housing. So this sometimes might not be always the most beautiful looking development, but it is what's needed, such as apartments, duplexes, that kind of thing. I also think we need to implement a limit to the number of properties that any one owner can rent out, because that is forcing our rental prices up there. I think we need to allow tiny homes and trailer home communities to be in the area, and I also I think to increase affordability, we need to tie property taxes to purchase value and not assessed value, which might be a little bit controversial.
Land value
Thank you. Mr. Shibley, same question. What specific actions would you take to address affordable housing and the rising cost of living for working families in Montgomery County?
So we'll cut the red tape that slows down affordable housing development, hold developers accountable, protect existing neighborhoods from being priced out, and a lot of the working families are getting squeezed. Rent is up, like you mentioned. Rent's getting crazy for people. That door knocking, there's a lot of people out there hurting, Republicans and Democrats, and it's time that we do something. We all need to step up and do something no matter who wins, so that's where I stand on that.
And specific actions to address affordable housing.
Yes, what specific actions would you take to address affordable housing and the rising cost of living for working families in Montgomery County?
So if you look at the numbers, the wages, the average house is around $300,000. And the wages that it takes, the average wages in Clarksville is lower than what it takes to get into that housing. So we know that affordable housing is an issue. But so what we have at our disposal, because right now we can advocate in these tax breaks that we give the corporate entities that are coming, we can make sure those deals, that this language is in those deals. But right now, what we have to do is make the dollar go further. And so we got to teach good stewardship. I didn't get the transparency question, but I will commit to monthly town hall meetings And in those meetings, I will make sure that there's a piece for education and awareness. I know that Mr. Anson mentioned that, you know, the jargon that you hear at these meetings, you don't understand, but if you come to these town hall meetings, we'll be able to analyze it and dissect it and figure it out, and even if we need to invite professionals. So we need to teach good stewardship. We need to let people know what's out there. There's some first-time homebuyer programs and some other things that will help people who are struggling financially. So we just got to make sure that we link them with those proper programs. And I know that, and you'll hear him, I'm sure you'll hear him speak about this when he comes up, but I know our county mayor candidate has a progressive program that he's bringing to the table to increase affordable housing. So looking at the progressive programs, linking them with the different resources, and teaching good stewardship, I think are the things that we have at our disposal at this point.
Let me start with you. Next question. What are your top budget priorities for the county, and under what circumstances, if any, would you support raising property taxes?
So I spoke a little bit about the budget when I talked earlier. The first thing we got to do is balance the budget. When 600 to 700 million in revenue is coming in, you can't tell me that you can't get the budget at least balanced. And then when you see projects, the beautification projects, the revitalization or the remodeling buildings, putting these big pretty buildings up, that has to take a back seat to the other things, the infrastructure, the other things that we, you know, school building, road construction, that we know that our community needs. So getting the budget balance, addressing this debt. Now I did see that the 2027 proposed budget doesn't have any general obligation bonds. I hope this is a trend and we're moving away from that, because I know that not all counties go that route. I looked at counties like Giles, Tipton, McMinn counties. They don't use general obligation bonds and they don't have any debt. And so the general obligation bonds are 99% of our long-term debt. And so we got to get away from those things. And then we got to look at investment income. I did see an entry in the 2026 budget, I believe, that said that we had investment income of 19 million. So we got to figure out how to continue to invest more to be able to have a better return on those investments. So if we're getting out of the bond business, we should get into the investment business. And if we're investing what we're spending on these bonds, that could be a very good investment portfolio. I'm talking about in the non-figures or so. So those are some couple options that we can try.
Thank you. Mr. Shipley, same question. What are your top budget priorities for the county, and under what circumstances, if any, would you support raising property taxes?
Infrastructure, public safety, and schools. Before I ever turn your property taxes, I want every dollar being spent justified. Are we cutting waste? Are developers paying impact fees? Are we maximizing what we have? Taxes are a last resort, not a first instinct. Responsible spending first, your wallet stays protected.
Thank you. Mrs. Jansen, same question. What are your top budget priorities for the county, and under what circumstances, if any, would you support raising property taxes?
Okay, so priorities for me would be keep building new schools to keep up with and hopefully get ahead of the growth. Freedom Elementary is about to open, but I'm not sure, but it probably is going to be close to capacity when it opens. So, you know, we are not getting ahead of the problem, we're just a little bit behind it, so we need to keep up with that. I would love to see 374, which is the extension of 101st, completed. It's a dream. We don't know when it's going to happen. There's been some talk. So that would be an infrastructure project that would need probably federal funding, so it's going to be quite a big job. No, I do not support raising property taxes on homes that have already been purchased. Like I said, I think that we should tie property taxes to the purchase value, not the assessed value. So what that means is, for example, when I bought my home 10 years ago, it was $184,000, and the property taxes was assessed on that. Currently, it's worth about I think, 350. So my property taxes obviously, went up quite a fair bit. So what that would mean is it puts the burden onto people who are buying homes, and they go into it knowing what the property tax is going to be. You don't get a surprise 10 or 20 years down the road. So I also believe that, and there is a program for this, but property taxes should be frozen for seniors. So there is a program, but I believe there's qualifications for it. I don't think everyone applies. So.
Thank you. We're going to start with you. Next question. How will you ensure transparency in zoning decisions, budget allocations, and public input processes while balancing the interests of residents, developers, and long-term growth?
Okay, well, first of all, I think that all of the meetings should be live streamed. Most of the big ones are live streamed, but there are some important ones that are not. So the Regional Planning Commission, I believe, is one that should be televised or live streamed, and it is not currently. I think, as I said before, commissioners and Regional Planning Commission members should use descriptions or addresses when they're talking about planning proposals so that it's clear and plain what we're talking about. I think the public, I mentioned this before also, should be allowed to ask questions. It could be in a planned manner where you submit your question and so that the commission can have time to prepare, but I think we should have a mechanism for being able to ask questions. And I think that upcoming planning decisions should be posted on social media. So, for example, there is a plot of land on Dover Road right now that is up for planning permission approval, and all it says is that there is a zone change pending. And if you want information about that, you have to find out for yourself. So another example would be the subdivision that was planned on Dotsonville Road. That was going to be a major impact for residents who live there. But if you didn't on purpose go and find out about it, there was no way to know what was planned. So I think it needs to be more publicized what the upcoming planning decisions and plan proposal changes are. Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Shibley, same question. How will you ensure transparency in zoning decisions, budget allocations, and public input processes while balancing the interests of residents, developers, and long-term growth?
Well, it's like she said, we need to live stream some of these, especially the budget meetings. Can you hear me better now? They're not live streamed. They're not live streamed, so nobody can really see that. I was told that a couple weeks ago by somebody that told me that. The main county commission meeting is live streamed, but like you said, a lot aren't. We need to be better at that. We also need to be more transparent with everybody about what we're voting on and why we voted that way. There are some councilors that already do that. Some of the city council already does that also. But that's my plan on do that. Ask the public questions about when you're voting on that also. Let them have their opinions on it also. That's where I stand. Developers have a seat at the table, but so do the people who actually live here.
Thank you. Same question, Mr. Hutchinson. What do you believe, what do you believe, wow. You want to switch spots? You got it, for real. How will you ensure transparency in zoning decisions, budget allocations, and public input processes while balancing the interests of residents, developers, and long-term growth?
I think that education and awareness piece at the town hall meetings is very important because our public needs to understand what's at stake. When we see that we're growing at a clip of 37,000 folks in the next 6 years, they got to go somewhere. And so we only have 21 districts. And so if you divided that number, that's 1,700 people per district. And then when you consider a single family house, you need at least 34 acres per 100 homes in the single family homes. And so that is 340 acres per 1,000. Where are we going to put 1,000 single family homes in District 11? That's going to be tough. I even saw where they had a proposal at Dotsonville, on Dotsonville Road, where they were trying to put 150, and that was shot down. So you think in terms of 1,700, it's going to be tough. And so we gotta make sure that we let the public know what's going on, and what's at stake, and that we have to make some decisions. They may not be the best decision, but at the end of the day, we have to make a decision. And then, as far as, there's 4 questions that we want to make sure that we are able to answer. 1, is it theoretically sound? 2, what is the practical impact, like overcrowding, school overcrowding, infrastructure, road congestion? And so the third thing we have to ask is it feasible? Can we afford it? And so the very last thing is, do we have a builder who can build it? And so when we consider all those things, then we can make informed decisions. And if we have the public at the table, or at least informed to the degree that they understand, then we can make some informed decisions.
Thank you. I'll start with you on this last question here. What do you believe is the biggest issue the county government is currently getting wrong, and how would you approach it differently?
So I really believe that the balance of power, control, and influence is off. I think that our county commissioners, I've spoken with a lot of them, and I know that their passion is there, that they're well-intended, but I think that, I don't think that they're in the loop as much as they should be. So I think that they need to have more power, influence, and control over what's going on. They need to be, have more of a presence in meetings. They need to be well-informed. They need to know the total rundown of these corporate tax reliefs, because I think that we see tens of millions of dollars go away on an annual basis with these tax incentives. And theoretically they're good, but are they done in good faith? Are we getting the best bang for our buck? And we look at some of them and we know that that isn't the case. And so we need to know, we need our county commissioners at the table when they're making these deals, because I think if that is the case, I think that it will go a different way. And I think that when it's time to vote on the budget for these things, I think that our county commissioners would kind of do like the city did, where they're not going to budge if it's not right. And so that may be the case with this 2027 budget, who knows? But I want our commissioners to be more hands-on than hands-off, and at the table during the inner workings of this county government.
Mr. Shibley, same question. What do you believe is the biggest issue the county government is currently getting wrong, and how would you approach it differently?
The biggest mistake the county keeps making is reactive government. We wait for the problem, then we act. Roads get congested, then we plan. Schools get overcrowded, then we scramble. That's not leadership, that's damage control. As your commissioner, I'm bringing proactive planning to this seat. We look ahead, we anticipate growth, and we make decisions before the crisis hits. Montgomery County deserves these steps ahead, not 3 years back.
Thank you.
That was quick.
Ms. Jensen, same question. What do you believe is the biggest issue the county government is currently getting wrong, and how would you approach it differently?
I believe the biggest problem that we have right now is growth without adding infrastructure or planning for the future. So to give credit to the current county commission, I think they are trying to make some changes with the development plan that is in place, but I do see that there are plans going forward that are not in the best interest of the community, and it's potentially that it is more in the interest of the developer than the people who currently live there and the people who will live there. So examples of this would be approving subdivisions without adequate schools. As we were saying, there was a proposal that they were pushing hard for on Dotsonville Road, while Liberty Elementary is 105% capacity. The developers would say that, oh, well, by the time that this is built, the new school, Freedom, will be open and it will relieve capacity. I also think this includes not having adequate access to facilities like grocery stores and not making walkable neighborhoods. There are definitely not enough of those around. So that is the biggest mistake, I believe, is growth without adding the appropriate infrastructure.
Thank you. Now, at this time, each candidate will get 2 minutes for closing statements. We'll start with you.
Okay, 2 minutes at a time. Okay, so I've been Rebecca Johnson from Montgomery County District 7. I am running to inspire people who don't normally vote to come out to vote. Like I said at the beginning, in my area, the people who do vote don't usually have a choice. There's really only the one candidate, or you write somebody in. I've been actually writing in Barack Obama for a while. Yeah, we can dream, right? So I'm inspiring people who wouldn't normally get out to vote because there's no choices to actually come out and exercise their rights to vote. I'm running because we need to send a message to elected leaders that they need to pay attention to the people who live here and not just the developers and people with connections and businesses. I am running to give you a choice when you step into that ballot box. So just to remind everyone, early voting starts July 17th. You can vote here. And it goes on for 2 weeks. You vote here or at the North Branch Library or Glen Ellen Park or the airport. So there's many choices, or you can vote on election day. But wherever you decide to vote, please do vote. It's important and it's your right. Thank you.
I'm running on, well, for one, the guy that's been here for 40 years is no longer here, so there's 2 new people running, so that's a good thing. There's going to be something new to our District 11, so that's going to be something that's great. I would love everybody to get out there and vote. Early voting starts July 17th. Voting starts August 6th. Just to remind everybody, there's no hidden agendas, no empty promises, just honest, practical leadership for every family in this district.
I was born and raised in Clarksville, and I believe that matters because I'm fully invested in the long-term health and vitality of this district and this community. I'm intuitive and resourceful, a hard worker. I will bring all that to the table. Clarksville needs a strong advocate, not someone who will hear the social issues that was brought up earlier. That, the public comments period, even if you can't address it during that meeting, at least put it on the agenda for the next meeting. These are things that's brought to the table that matter to people, and we don't have any position at the top of our leadership in our county, and that needs to change. So strong advocacy, fully committed and invested in the community, and a hard worker. That's a good recipe for good leadership. And so I'm looking for your vote this August the 6th. Thank you.
Thank you all for showing up and doing this. We appreciate you. To talk to the candidates, ask them any questions, and we're going to take a moment and reset for the next candidate, which will be our county mayor.
Say what? That's right. That money's temple. Money in temple, young man.
Oh, I forgot my glasses.
That's right.
I would just say that kind of stuff.
Everything's good.
All right, everybody, we are going to transition into our mayoral candidates. I want to welcome Christine McNamara and Isaac Greenwood up to the table. Wes Golden declined to be here tonight. Again, we did ask everyone to participate. Everyone is welcome. This is nonpartisan and open to the public. Each candidate is going to get 2 minutes to introduce themselves. They'll also get 2 general questions, 5 questions pertaining to their position, and then 2 minutes for closing statements. I'll be your timekeeper. I'm sitting right here in the front. We'll give you a 1-minute warning and a 30-second warning. And I'll pass it over to our moderator, Rachel.
All right. Thank you, guys. So we're going to start off with your introductions. So we have 2 minutes each. We're going to start with the lady, Miss Christine.
Howdy, howdy. My name is Christine McNamara. I am running for county mayor. My background is not very political, not off to a great start. I am a foster parent in our community, specifically teenagers, which is an interesting path that brought me an interesting life. And so now I have 6 children, and I am a newer grandmother. I have a 3-month-old grandson. My big passion in life is psychology, and I am running because I do not believe that the way that the county or local government at all is working for our community. It's not going to need a little reform. It's going to need a complete reset. What was the rest of the question?
This is just your introduction.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I'd like to do as far as turning the government as much as we can at a local level back inwards towards the community. That's why I'm running.
Isaac.
Hello. I'm Isaac Greenwood, also running for Montgomery County Mayor. I was born and raised in Middle Tennessee. I worked my way through college at Ball State and Tennessee Tech here as a server, a delivery driver, working a million different retail jobs, liquor store, etc., to then build a career as a system analyst and data engineer. I moved to Montgomery County from Springfield with my wife and not yet daughter to build a family here and to try to build roots here. On the process of planning for my daughter, I wanted to get involved. I joined a lot of civic organizations, I volunteered my time, and I just wanted to make Montgomery County better and have the opportunities that I had growing up where we don't currently, at least in my opinion, we don't currently have those opportunities. I want to work to get things done. After being with the civic organizations, I kind of came to the conclusion that they're fighting an uphill battle against a government here that is decades behind any other county of its size. And there's a lot of things we could do to genuinely improve life here if only we had the focus, the drive, the willpower, and the innovation to do so. Thank you.
Now we're going to move on to general questions, and you each will have 2 minutes to answer those. Isaac, we'll start with you. What do you believe is the biggest challenge currently facing Montgomery County, and what specific steps would you take in this role to address it?
I believe the biggest issue facing Montgomery County right now is not growth, as some previous candidates have talked about, but a lack of forward thinking by our leadership. I think that's the root cause behind all of it. We've been kicking the can down the road for decades when it comes to our infrastructure, when it comes to planning, when it comes to housing, and a lot of candidates have talked about being proactive. We are past the point where proactivity itself will solve the issue here. We need to be investing in our future, and that involves free school meals for kids, it involves lighting our roads better, and it involves an affordable housing cooperative chartered by the county to allow the people here to afford the basic necessities of life, to be able to go out and go to church on Sunday without having to work a second job, to be able to afford daycare, to be able to afford to eat food that is nutritious and beneficial for their entire family. Thank you.
Same question for you. What do you believe is the biggest challenge currently facing Montgomery County, and what specific steps would you take in this role to address it?
I would have to say that our community has lost trust in our local government. And that goes as deep or shallow as we want to look at it. Our local government, whether it be city, county, or school system, has lost the trust of the people. And we can't just ask the people to trust us again, but we have to earn that trust. And the development is a part of it, and I think those who did mention the Dotsonville, I worked very hard fighting that development. It's not just that the developments come, it is that community members don't know it's coming. It's not just that we don't trust them with the budget, it's that they say that they've levied the tax rate, and in reality, we were budgeting for 29 paid full-time firemen in the county, and we got 3. That is why we do not have the trust of the people. It is when things go wrong in the school board and the government remains silent. It is that our budget meetings are not televised, nor is there public comment. It is that when things occur on the streets outside, our local government remains silent. That we have no homeless shelters, but we have philanthropists who have their names on buildings because they're such kind people, but we have no homeless shelters. We have foster youths who are ignored and neglected, but we put a big smile on our face and we get in front of a Ferris wheel on the 3rd of July and we say, come on down to the downtown commons. There is a lot of things that need to be done, but we need to stop ignoring everything in the center of our community and start paying attention to what the people need to hear from us.
Thank you, Christine. We're going to go ahead and you can do the next question. How will you ensure transparency, accountability, and meaningful communication with the people of Montgomery County if elected?
Well, I am very big on transparency. When I first started getting involved in local government, I knew that it wasn't going to be enough to attend county commission. I attend every county commission. I attend as many budget meetings as possible in the county. Almost every city council meeting that I can attend. I attend every school board meeting. I have attended, not very many, only 1 or 2 of the city budget meetings, because it's not enough to know what's going on in one singular section when all of Clarksville is in Montgomery County. We have to work together and we have to honest about who's running our community. And it was a problematic thing to some when I pulled people's financial contribution disclosures, because we need to know who is funding who in our community. And a big part of communication, because I know I skipped over that part, I do believe that the budget meeting should become televised. In the communication aspects, we need line item. We need people to know exactly where our money is going, every single dollar, again, so we can build back trust.
Thank you. Isaac, same question. How will you ensure transparency, accountability, and meaningful communication with the people of Montgomery County if elected?
So to start, I've already started doing this. I built a survey directly into my website as part of the campaign to gather people's concerns. Every door I knock, every event I'm at, I'm gathering what people's issues are, to document them, to bring them before the county commission, to get things done around here. Just a list of policies that I think could benefit the entirety of Montgomery County with regards to transparency and accountability. The county front desk system, through probably the county clerk's office, where people could go with any concern they had and be directed, whether to the county, the city, or the state, to the government organization that they need to be directed to. Inclusive of that would be a ticketing system where you could check to see what the status of your ticket is. Summaries, not just recordings, summaries of county commission and committee meetings, having our election finances be published online, partnering with the RPC, the Regional Planning Commission, technologically, so that you don't have to go to multiple different websites just to know what's happening. Making it so that the county commissioner in the district of a zoning change has more of a say in whether or not that zoning change gets implemented. Citizen advisory boards based on the locality of where a change or impact is happening. And public notices about upcoming road work, so I'm trying to speed through, having a county representative at all major community events. And the reality is, if the current mayor wanted to do any of these things, he already would have.
Thank you. These following questions are specific to the county mayor position. Christine, we'll start with you. Montgomery County is one of the fastest growing counties in Tennessee. What is your vision for the county over the next 4 years, and what are your top 3 priorities if elected?
Is this in regards to housing or as a whole?
As a whole.
I would like to see a moratorium on developments. We can't catch up while we're still adding. If a bucket is filling up quickly, we can't empty that bucket and be caught up while we're still spilling water into it. I would like to see a water park come to the areas past the river. I believe that it would be an amazing opportunity for the youth to have employment, a job program, a specific coalition that I would like to bring for at-risk youth and aging out foster youths. That is a big passion of mine. It would allow a huge majority of foster youths to be able to, oh my gosh, that's so little time, to be able to reduce the impact of DCS recidivism, kids going back into the system. I could promise more roads. The reality is it takes 5 years from the time you say it to the time it might get done. I could say it, it's not going to get done in 4 years. I'd like to bring driver's education back to our school system. I would like to bring driver's education that is accessible beyond age 21, that does not cost $750. There is things that can be done. I'd like to see transportation be able to reach the county with busing. There is 1,000,001 things that I would like to see. I'm running out of time. I'm so sorry. I would like to see our tax incentive programs be rerouted from just mega corporations and billionaires back to our local farmers, incentivizing them as far as sourcing produce locally, developers who can't rent out because nobody can afford the rent, incentivizing them to turn it into independent living for foster youths. This would change the generational outcome of homelessness, drug rape, DCS recidivism, and $1 million. Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Isaac, same question. Montgomery County is one of the fastest growing counties in Tennessee. What is your vision for the county over the next 4 years, and what are your top 3 priorities if elected?
So my vision is starting with one where we have rebuilt trust in not just the government, but in each other and community. One where we are no longer encroaching on the county with the city growth. One where we are prioritizing what our citizens prioritize, what our residents prioritize. One where we are educating and empowering each other and the community as a whole. And then restoring a love of neighbor and a love for each other. I think that is very achievable in 4 years if we show that we are committed to it. If we show that we are committed to feeding our children in schools, we are committed to having our roads be safe and drivable and easy to transit, if we show that we are willing and able to provide affordable housing for individuals across the spectrum of their income, I think we can offset the antagonistic relationship that has been built up, not just between citizens and government, but between each other, that is fostered over the past, realistically, honestly, my entire life. There's been this relationship that has broken community at the seams. And I think we need to get that back, and we can. We just have to show that we are committed to doing the right thing.
Thank you. Isaac will give you this question. You can go ahead. As Montgomery County continues to grow, how will you balance new development with investments in infrastructure, public services, and preserving residents' quality of life?
So to start, I don't just want to preserve people's quality of life here. I think we should be improving it. I think just preserving it is kind of a defeatist attitude. That said, I also think there's a perspective that people have, especially people who are like fresh in the economics, where they don't understand that the things that are the best investments for the county are also the ones that benefit people around here. So just as an example, the Rockefeller Foundation found that for every dollar spent towards free school meals, there's a 300% to 900% economic return for every dollar spent. That is an insanely good investment for any of y'all out there, I'm sure you know. A lot of these things, sadly, are not easily quantifiable, though. I think there's a lot of other investments in each other that we need to be doing, and at the end of the day, we need to have a solution where everybody here has the ability to go out, to have affordable housing, to have a hobby, to enjoy community again. I think to the other part of the question, I don't think developers should get the priority for the county tax budget. I don't think we should be prioritizing them over the affordability of people who are just trying to live day to day. Developers themselves should primarily be the ones paying for new developments.
Thank you. Christine, same question for you. As Montgomery County continues to grow, how will you balance new development with investments in infrastructure, public services, and preserving residents' quality of life?
So like I said, I'm not a very big fan of more development. I'm really not. There has to be a need that is being filled before we're signing off on anything. Is this a need, or is this something that nobody can afford based on our livable wages in the community? I really jumped the gun because I feel like a lot of the things I said in the last one would have been very fitting here. Bringing incentives for those who may have a bunch of property. We have a lot of empty houses here. We have a lot of empty apartments because, again, the median income is not going to cut it. Incentivizing for them to turn inwards into essentially programs, again, for at-risk youth. There's a lot of different housing programs that are seeking for people to jump in and get involved. That the extended foster care program would really solve a lot of things as far as that, and it wouldn't affect the neighboring rates of rent because it does technically fall under a welfare program. And so looking at incentives like that would greatly alter a lot of the outcomes for the rest of us as well. I also think that we should be a little bit more welcoming to trailer parks, as they are a very affordable method of living. My brain is really frazzled. I'm so sorry. I feel like I really rattled off a lot of things that apply to this in the last one. Okay. Also, we need homeless shelters. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, the next question, Isaac. The county mayor oversees the county's budget and helps set financial priorities. How would you approach budgeting, and what principles will guide your decisions when balancing competing needs and limiting resources?
Yeah, so I'm extremely frugal by nature. I grew up literally cutting coupons with my mom after dinner every night. We need to be spending money where it's needed and not on flock cameras and statues. I think in addition to that, there's a lot of efficiency gains that we could be having in the county. So for instance, during the freeze this year, I don't believe we helped out at all with the school parking lots. So the county highway department did not help salt or plow after the ice. And so the school system was out for 2 weeks. The school system then had to hire its own contractor to clean out their own parking lots. That's a loss of efficiency in terms of just the money being spent. It means kids were out of schools for 2 weeks, and it means that parents had to stay at home to deal with those. On top of that, I think a lot of times when we get into issues around the budget, people think of cutting services. And I think what we need to be doing is investing in cost-saving technology. So that looks like solar on the top of our school buildings to save on electricity costs. For those of you who are tech heads out there, it looks like a Linux-based technology suite instead of sending a bunch of money to Microsoft. All of those things would feed back into our budget and allow us to really make the expenses that we need throughout the county.
Thank you. Christine, same question. The county mayor oversees the county's budget and helps set financial priorities. How would you approach budgeting, and what principles will guide your decisions when balancing competing needs and limited resources?
I'm glad you asked. So recently we spent $527,000, and that was on the loan property in Palmyra, I think that was in Cunningham. It was donated to us by a church, and we spent $527,000 while we started our budget at a $16 million deficit. The contractor who got that purchase agreement contract is a contractor who also declared bankruptcy in 2019. I have not been able to verify that they actually correctly re-upped their license since it expired. We are paying for equipment for the highway department that is not being used, and is state-of-the-art equipment that was bought because it is flashy and shiny. We are spending far beyond our means at a massive scale in ways we're not recuperating properly from. We need a full ethics board, and not one that is filled with the highway supervisor who's currently on it, by the way. We have a lot of people who should not be on these boards. We need to be thoroughly examining our purchasing agreements. We own over 100 acres, 100-acre plot off Dodsonville. We are waiting for tenants off Crossland to be evicted so that we can build a train complex right there. We just wanted to spend $3 million to a countywide fueling station, which we admitted will have no cost savings to the county. We are spending like crazy. They wanted to do a juvenile detention center. That would have cost a ton of money. We spent $12 million after grant money on the F&M Bank Arena. The things that we're spending on are not on us. And we are continuously spending to do a slumlord special on downtown Clarksville while we ignore the rest of the community. Thank you.
The next Next question, Isaac. The county mayor works closely with the county commission, municipalities, schools, businesses, and community organizations. How would you build partnerships and navigate disagreements to move important initiatives forward?
So every job I've ever worked has had an element of this. As a server, it was navigating between the kitchen, dish, and my tables. As a manager, it was navigating between my employees and the customers. And then now I work with a lot of different business interests to make sure that the data that we are ingesting and sending over to the Fed is properly regulated, is properly detailed. And all of that requires facilitation. The things I've learned and taken away from that is we need to start by listening well, which means knowing what people mean, not just what they say. We need to empathize with people from whatever position they are coming at us from. We need to know what their priorities are and why they are approaching us, why they are dealing with us. It also means shows of good faith. We are a collective body of people here who, for the most part, want things for the common good. Sometimes we have to take a back foot and be willing to have a show of good faith in the other person. It means apologizing and owning up when we make a mistake or when we have an issue. And it means doing so before you are pushed to do so. And I think the final and the hardest thing for me to learn was that sometimes you need to cut your losses. There are sometimes organizations and people that do not want the best for the community as a whole. And you have to be willing to work around them or work without them to get the job done.
Thank you. Christine, same question. The county mayor works closely with the county commission, municipalities, schools, businesses, and community organizations. How would you build partnerships and navigate disagreements to move important initiatives forward?
By leading by example, by taking the first step. One thing I am very passionate about, like I said, I do want to know how the city government works and how everything works in the school board and the county, because you can't lead what you don't know. And it takes reaching out and having those conversations. I have sat and had conversations with at least 2 of the city mayor candidates, where we've sat and we've talked about how we could have done this budget situation better and how the county could have come in and worked with the city. It is true that the residents of Montgomery County who live within city limits do pay for county fire. And taking a couple of cents off those residents' county tax and allowing that to roll over to their city tax would have meant that nobody got a tax increase. And the money still would have gone to support. But there's a lot of pride in the way. And that pride is getting in the way of what is best for all Montgomery County residents, including those who live within the city limits. Leading by example and taking that first step, you can't just talk about things. You have to put your boots on the ground and jump into the thick of it. A lot of things that I talk about, I don't talk about fighting developments. I got my boots on the ground and fought some developments. I don't talk about a homeless shelter. I look a mess today because I was distributing food for Second Harvest today at the Salvation Army and washing dishes at their lunch, because we can't just talk about it, because that's all that we've been getting for a very long time. We need people who are willing to jump in and roll this initiative down the hill. Let it keep spinning until it becomes reality.
Thank you. And we'll finish up the last question. We're going to switch it up and let Christine answer next. I caught you mid-sip.
I know, I'm sorry, I was caught in line.
Last question. How will you ensure county government remains transparent, accessible, and responsive to residents? And what specific steps will you take to build public trust in your administration?
Well, as far as the transparency and communication, we all know that the comments on the county commission meetings, those have been disabled for I don't know how long. I think there just needs to be that open line of communication. You shouldn't have to pay $50 to attend a mayor's, a breakfast? $50 to meet your mayors? Huh?
40.
40? Oh, no, that's at the candidate event.
Oh, that was the one.
Yeah, I won't be there. But no, you shouldn't be paying $50 because these are members of your community. These are your neighbors, or they should be at least. We shouldn't be holding up the government members as some kind of hierarchy or celebrities in our community. These are regular people and they're public servants. We should be treating them as so, and they should be acting as so. They're just regular people. You should be able to call when something is wrong. You should be able to speak and not have to worry about being filtered at the school board. We shouldn't be limiting time. We should be encouraging people to come in. We need to be pushing out information about meetings a lot better than we're doing. We put out one little post a few hours before. We're not talking about it. We don't talk about the RPC proposals on social media the way we should be. We're not utilizing lots of different social media options. We're not reaching out. We don't care to reach out, and that's a problem. We should be holding a lot of different stuff in public places and public spaces beyond just downtown commons. We just have to try a lot harder and show that we genuinely care to actually speak with our constituents and community.
Thank you. Isaac, same question. How will you ensure county government remains transparent, accessible, and responsive to residents? And what specific steps will you take to build public trust in your administration?
So I already talked about the specific policies I'd like to implement to make sure that we are transparent and accountable. Citizen Advisory Board, meeting summaries, the county front desk to allow residents to have a single place to go when they have any questions or concerns. So I think I want to talk a little bit more generally about what I think we should be doing to make sure that that is sustainable over more than just one administration. The reality is any system that gets built can be corrupted or neglected. It's something we've seen very recently. We've seen it throughout our lives. If we want to build trust, we have to invest in the genuine good of people here. If we want to build something long-lasting, we have to invest in, educate, and empower community itself. And what I mean by that is starting with affordability. Again, so people can go to church on Sunday instead of working their second job. It involves safety, so that people can trust their neighbors to watch their kid for 30 minutes if they need to, or go driving out when it's raining and dark and not be worried about hitting deer or being able to not see. And it involves investing in the future of our county through our kids and through job opportunities and things that allow people to look ahead with hope. All of those things are possible, but we need to buy in first. As the county, we need to be the ones to reach out a hand to people first and say, we are here for you. You don't have to buy into us.
Thank you. And at this time, we'll do closing statements. Isaac, you can go ahead and.
So firstly, thank you to Black Clarksville. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you for everyone else who's helped set up this event. Thank you to y'all for being involved, for coming here on this Wednesday evening. I know a lot of you are probably have seen a lot of your faces before, but being educated, being civically engaged is extremely important. I just want to thank y'all for doing so. I do want to also remind everyone the general election for the county is this upcoming election starting July 17th. And there's a lot I would love to be able to continue talking about. I never really got around to the housing cooperative and how exactly that would work, as Mr. Hutchinson mentioned. So if there's any additional questions or comments, concerns for me, please feel free to reach out. I'll be walking around, I'll give you my number, I'll give you my card, I'll give you my email, anything y'all would like to know, please feel free to talk to me, engage, etc. Thank you.
Christine, you can go ahead with your closing statement.
Well, I'm happy to be here. Thank you to y'all as well. And I loved y'all's speeches the other day. But yeah, I'm really glad that this election is almost over. I really am. You're not going to see my signs everywhere because I didn't buy any giant signs. I actually didn't buy any signs at all because the economy is terrible and I didn't feel morally okay spending money on signs. So I'm kind of wearing a sign right now. I had 100 signs donated to me, but they're all in yards. You're not going to see them on wall Rudolph. So again, thank you for having me. And there was a lot of things I also did not get to go over that I am very passionate about. I am not as well polished as my opponents are, and I mean that as a compliment, believe it or not. But I have a lot of passion, and I am never willing to be silent when it is time to speak up, whether it be for a senior center, or developments that will be detrimental, or problems in the school system, or issues in our budget. I am somebody who is unwavering in my values for this community. And I am somebody who grew up in extraordinary circumstances. And I know some have probably heard my underdog story of being the daughter of felons and all of that and becoming a foster parent, and it's a whole tearjerker. But I just have a lot of passion for this community, and I just want to see my community be okay.
Thank you to our county mayor candidate. And Tiffany will close us out.
Thank you all so much for joining us for another candidate forum. These take a lot to put together. Thank you so much, Rachel, for being here tonight. Has moderated with us quite a few times. So really just grateful for the team that I have that puts this together. Thankful for you all for coming out. I know y'all can be anywhere tonight. It's dinner time. Y'all got families and things to do. It really is important that we know the people that want to lead this community. We've got a lot of stuff going on right now. I feel like we keep being in the news for more and more things, and some people do and do not care. I think that is becoming more and more prevalent, so I'm grateful to the candidates who showed up. I'm grateful to the candidates who responded, whether they could make it or not. The response, we're appreciative of that too. There are plenty who didn't respond at all and didn't consider participating. Also, just a reminder, like everyone said, early voting is July the 17th through August the 1st. The actual election day is August the 6th. We do encourage you guys to vote early. Take someone with you. Shout out to our election commission. We do now have 4 early vote locations. The election commission here, Wilma Rudolph CDE, Rich Ellen Park, and the beautiful North Branch libraries. You can vote at all those places early. On August the 6th, you do need to vote at your polling location. Please check those because we did also just get redistricted. So there are some people on Fort Campbell Boulevard area who possibly have a new polling location and possibly have a different ballot. Speaking of ballots, there are sample ballots online currently. You can also pick them up at the election commission. And then we will be having an election hub here on July the 18th, so the first Saturday, completely nonpartisan. We'll be doing phone banking, postcards, text banking. We've got to get these voter turnout numbers up. So everyone here, I'm asking you to take 3 people with you, text 5 people from your phone, or your mama, your auntie, your grandma, everybody. Before we start to spill the tea, ask if they vote. And don't participate until they vote. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for me, but we need everybody voting. Our voting numbers are very, very low for the amount of people that we have in this community. We have a lot of candidates on the ballot this year. Let's build the community that we really want. Candidates will be around for a little bit. Talk to them. We do have the pizza out at 7:30. And then follow us on social media, our Facebook page, and our website, blkclarksville.com. Our next forum is going to be July 20th, and it'll be in the same location, 5:30 to 7:30. And you guys can check the website for who will be on there, but this is the last round of candidates. But thank y'all so much for everything. Rachel, thank you. Y'all have a great night.